Today we will see how disgusting, perverted, and how scary people can be. Yes, there may be a psycho or serial killer walking around you who looks normal but has a monster hiding inside his head. Who can turn people's lives into nightmares if they get the chance. And the scariest thing is that you may be walking past them every day. But you don't even realize how scary they are. For example, this incident basically started with an emergency call. A woman on the other end of the phone was saying in a choked voice that a girl was being held inside a house with a chain around her neck. At first, the police found it unbelievable because it was a movie and not real life. But a few minutes later, when the officers arrived at the scene, they realized that the situation was even scarier than they had imagined. The whole house was unusually quiet. The windows were closed with wood. The doors were screwed shut, as if someone was inside and was being hidden from the whole world. Then suddenly a woman's terrified scream came from the broken window above. The police realized that someone was really trapped inside. What they finally saw when they entered was like something straight out of a psychopathic horror movie. A woman was standing with a heavy metal chain tied around her neck. And that chain wasn't just tied to a pole. Rather, it was firmly attached to the ground with special iron fittings. It means someone had planned and created a system to keep a person imprisoned like an animal. The entire house seemed like a torture cell to the police. And here comes the scariest part. Because the investigation revealed that this man didn't just keep her imprisoned. Instead, he completely broke the girl mentally. He threatened her every day, beat her, and said that if she tried to escape, he would kill her. The girl later told the police that she was so terrified that after a while she thought she might never get out of here alive. But the true face of the monster was not yet fully revealed. The police later learned that not only torture but something more terrible was going on inside that house. The name of that terrible person was Moises May. He forced the girl to have physical relations with other men in exchange for money. That is, he would kidnap a person and turn him into a mental slave. A living person was being controlled and slowly broken down. But what is even more terrifying is that from the outside, this person would seem like a completely normal person to you. And that is the scariest thing. Because sometimes real monsters cannot be distinguished. They walk among us like normal people. Another such terrible incident happened in Ohio, America. At first, the police thought it might be a simple kidnapping or fight case, but within a few hours, they realized that they had actually entered a twisted, sick and terrifying world. It all started when a young woman told the police that a couple she knew had trapped her and taken her to their compound, where she was beaten, threatened and even tortured. The girl somehow escaped and asked the police for help, but the police still did not realize how much more dark world was hidden in this case. Then, while investigating, the police reached the secret compound of the suspect, TJ, and his girlfriend, Morgan Smith. But when they got there, they found out that both of them had fled into the woods. And when they saw what they had left inside the house while escaping, the officers were cold. Upon entering the house, they first saw a strange thing. It looked like an ordinary playpen where children played. But as they got closer, the police realized that it was actually a cage. A wooden gate was placed on top and tightly tied around it with zip ties, so that no one inside could get out. And inside that cage was a little 3-year-old child. Inside were rotten milk bottles, smelly dirt, and the surrounding conditions were as if the child had been locked there for hours. When the police were opening the things, the officers were terrified. Because they saw with their own eyes how cruel a person could be. Then, when they searched the entire house, the police found even more terrifying things. Sharp knives, drug paraphernalia, and all kinds of dangerous things that could kill those children at any time were scattered around. In other words, the whole house was a poisonous nightmare. And in this terrible environment, the little children were being raised. Finally, the police found a strange journal, where some words were written about punishment, control, and perverted rules. And then the investigators realized that this was not just a torture case, but the dark world of a completely perverted family, where people gradually lost their humanity. It didn't end here. Another such terrible incident happened in O'Hare. At first, the police thought it might be a simple robbery or murder. But they didn't realize that this case would slowly lead them into the world of a serial killer. A man who would enter people's homes and kill them as if he were not human. A predatory animal. The story began when a woman named Sarah Evans entered her friend's house and screamed, because she saw the bloody body of 59-year-old Benny King lying in front of her. The whole house was covered in blood. There was blood on the walls, blood on the bed, and even blood stains in the corridor. And the police learned that the old man had been stabbed 33 times, not once or twice. The police understood that the attack began in the bedroom. Then Benny somehow crawled out and tried to save his life. But the killer followed him to the corridor and finished him off there. The wounds on his hands said that he fought with death until the last moment. But the scary thing was in another place. Because although the whole house was messed up, nothing much was stolen. Only all the cabinets in the kitchen were open. As if someone was looking for something crazy. That's when the police realized that the killer was probably looking for money. During the investigation, they came across two brothers named Justin and Johnny. They had drug-related problems in the area and also had problems over money. A few days ago, the old man had even thrown them out of the house at gunpoint. So the police's suspicion fell directly on them. But just then, more strange information came to light. An old gold Hummer car was seen in the area around the time of the murder. The car was leaving the area so fast that the sound of the tires shook the entire road. And there was a young man inside the car. Later, the police learned that a person known in the area as Jay Bird was driving a car of the same color. And that Jay was Justin. Everything was pointing to him. Drugs, money, previous troubles, mysterious car. All the dots seemed to fit together, but the police still didn't know that this was not just a murder because a few weeks later, another murder took place in the same style on the other side of the city, the same brutality, the same bloody scene and the same terrifying pattern. And then the police realized that they might be chasing a serial killer. Sadly, thousands of such mentally disturbed people are walking around us wearing the masks of ordinary people. It is almost impossible to understand how dark and scary someone is inside. So always be careful to keep yourself and your loved ones safe. Thank you. Your hands Hado Jason Nice.